The Small Business Administration classifies a small business as an enterprise that consists of less than 500 employees. That means 99% of businesses in the US are considered a small business. Of the 33 million small businesses, 27 million have no employees at all. Shout out to all of you one man armies out there and husband and wife teams. If you own or are involved in an enterprise such as this show is for you. Welcome to the Time Wealthy Advantage. So, today, do you have an overactive mind and what can you do about it?
At this time, I'm going to ask you to fasten your seatbelts.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the Time Wealthy Advantage. It is good to see you. Today, we're going to be talking about an overactive mind, and more importantly, what can you do about it? Well, let me just paint a picture. There you are. You've literally worked all day. You got up with the chickens. Maybe before the chickens. Maybe you woke up the chickens. Right? It's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, maybe 6 o'clock if you get to sleep in. You literally work all day. And the entire time, since the moment you get up, your brain is just actively going all the time, right? You're in the shower and you're thinking of all these different ideas. You're driving into work and you've got more ideas. Even if you get a momentary break from the phone or the phone calls or whatever it is that's going on, the entire time your brain is running from one crisis to the next. Then you've got other ideas and different ideas about this and that. As you get different conversations with different people, and all of these different thoughts all day long just keep coming at you, right? So what isn't coming at you externally is coming at you internally, right? Then you get home. Maybe you get home at a decent time, 9 o'clock, right? And maybe you eat some dinner. You can't wait to go to bed. Maybe you get to go to bed by 11 o'clock or so, get to bed early. And then you lay down, you're exhausted from the day, and you just can't shut your brain off, right? Anybody relate to that at all, right? That is something that I dealt with all the time. And let's discuss first why that is, especially when you're laying down in bed and you're thinking, I just want to go to bed, right? Well, you got to understand, first and foremost, where our ideas come from and why they actually happen in terms of our state of consciousness as how our minds work. Now, our mind and the brain are not exactly the same thing. Our brain, for the most part, houses our mind, right? As far as researchers can tell. It could be housed in other parts of our bodies too, but for the most part, we're pretty much centered on certain parts of our brain will house our mind. Now, our mind actually consists of 4 different states. We have our beta state, which is our highly conscious, analytical, cognitive brain, right? That's when we're highly conscious of what it is that we're doing, right? That's when we are in our conscious beta state. Then you have the 3 remaining states, which really are different parts of our subconscious brain. And that's our alpha brain, our theta, or our alpha state, our theta state, and our delta state. All right. So let me describe those real quick. Our alpha state is when you are kind of like in a daydreaming state, right? You're just maybe you're doing a very easily repetitive task. You're not really doing anything that is hard to that is hard to do, right? There's not a lot of thought involved. Okay. So it's one of those things where you just it's easy to do whatever the task is. You're driving, maybe you're mowing the lawn, maybe you're just standing in the shower, right? Letting the hot water run on you, whatever it is, right? And you'll know when you're in your alpha state because this is when you're getting all of your ideas, right? You get out of the shower and you're like, honey, we're going into the oil business. You're like, no, we're not. Stop coming up with ideas in the shower, right? This is when you're in your alpha state, right? So this is a very typical state for where we generate ideas, from our subconscious brain. Our theta state is when we're really super relaxed. It's almost kind of when we're in a state of getting ready to fall asleep. And this is where when we have someone who like I kind of kid where my wife comes in the room and asks me to buy something, right? She's like, sweetheart, can we buy a new van? I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Yeah, you said, right? But it's just when we're super relaxed, kind of our cognitive beta state is shutting down and our subconscious brain is putting its hands fully on the wheel. That's when we're slowing down. Our brain wave activity is slowing down and we are heading into our delta state. And our delta state is when we are fully asleep. When we're fully asleep, subconscious brain has its hands fully on the wheel and our beta conscious brain is completely shut down. So you might be thinking, well, what does this have to do with my overactive brain? Well, you got to keep in mind is that when you are laying down and becoming really super relaxed, this is when you are in your alpha, theta, your alpha and theta state heading towards your delta state, right? So this is when it's pretty common for your brain to come up with all these different ideas and chatter like a 2-year-old, right? Hey, what about this idea? What about that idea? Hey, don't forget, you have to do this thing. Don't forget, you have to do that thing. And this is where it gets really, really frustrating because you want to shut your brain down, but it just won't. So here's a really easy trick on how to do that, on how to shut your brain down. It's really super simple. Have a notepad by your bedside and write things down. If you have a nightlight where you're not actually turning on a light, so it's going to wake up you or someone else in the room, that's fine. But here's the key. Stay off your damn phone. Why is that? Because this little sucker emits blue light. And blue light, we actually get most of our blue light not from our phones, although we do get blue light from our phones, and we get a lot of blue light from television. But where do we get most of our blue light from? The sun. So our brain does not know the difference between seeing blue light and goes, oh, so it's time to wake up. So when you get on your phone, and if you're going to, let's say that you have an idea or some thought of something that you have to do for the next day, which is pretty typical of, when we're time weary and running at 100 miles an hour and forgetting things or whatever else it is, it's pretty typical, for us to think about those things. So we get on, we want to maybe make a note in our calendar or whatever else it is. Do not do that. Resist the urge. Stay off your damn phone and pick up a good old fashioned piece of paper and a pencil and write it down. I have a little whiteboard that I absolutely love this thing. And you can just write different notes down and you can keep it with you or keep it next to your nightstand and write it down. Keep a nightlight there, maybe keep a book light there. So you're not actually initiating blue light, right? But you're initiating normal light. Incandescent light or LED light even is better than this blue light emitter that is going to wake you up. All right. So that's really all I have for today, folks. So hopefully you will find this and will allow you to enter into further states from your alpha state to your theta state and into your delta states. Because again, when you're going backwards, when you're going from, oh, I've got this idea and I'm in my alpha state, and it takes you to what? It takes you to your beta state, right? It takes you to your conscious beta brain, and you are now wide awake. And this is why when you're sitting there thinking about all the problems that you have, you're not allowing yourself to go into your alpha, theta, and delta state. And that is where you are sleeping. So anyway, hope you found this helpful. Let me know what your thoughts are and let me know if that's something you struggle with. If it is, reach out. I'll be happy to help you give some other ideas. But that is all I have for today. Tomorrow, I'm actually excited because my son and I are getting new glasses. And after that, we'll see. See what I did there? Dad jokes. #. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. And remember, we are here to get you a time wealthy advantage. And of course, maybe give you some terrible jokes from time to time. All right. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time.
On behalf of the flight crew, thank you for flying with us and have a pleasant day.